It's not.
We can still start with what's your favorite thing about Bridget Carlton. We can send the video to her later.
So my favorite thing about Bridget is actually she's low key the funniest person you'll ever meet. But it's low key. Like you gotta know her to know that she's funny. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you know.
Is she the funniest on the team?
No, I am. Okay. So after me. After me.
T, just I know it's only been 3 days of training camp, but many players have spoken about just how excited they were getting back to this group, and you've talked about this already. But just now that you guys are kind of in the thick of it, getting in here every day, getting better, how fun has it been to just get back with this group and get back in the gym?
Yeah, as soon as the last game was over, all I've been thinking about is getting back with the team, and kind of picking up where we left off at. We had a lot of great energy in camp, and just coming back to so many familiar faces. Everything, like Bridget said, we just feel like 10 steps ahead already. And then also just implementing the new people. They're learning fast and they're catching up, and we set the tone and they following for sure.
When I was talking to the coach as the training camp approached, I asked her which of the players on the team can we expect the biggest jump from, and she brought up your name. And she was just in here talking before about how she wants you to take more threes in addition to being able to get downhill. What do you think that you have but maybe Lynx fans haven't seen yet?
Yeah, I got a lot. I just feel like just, kind of that point in my career where I'm just taking like a big step, not only just with my basketball skills, but just mentally. And, my mom always told me this: as you get older, you get wiser. And I feel like I'm real wise right now. So I think that's going to carry over the basketball. But just having that confidence, like just being confident, knowing who I am as a player, what I can do, and not holding back or shying away.
Last season, the Lynx brought in you and Court as kind of backcourt rehaul. Mm-hmm. How has it been different this training camp, and just how excited are you to be back here with Court?
Yeah, that's my dog. That was my vet when I first came into the league. So having her around is just amazing. She always helping me. She'll definitely tell you what you need to hear. So that's nice, just having somebody who will stay on you. But I think we just excited to be here. Like we know the culture here. We know like how we are as a team, and just to be able to be a part of something special means a lot to us. And we just never take that moment or time for granted.
And making that decision to come back, kind of what went into that? Was it fans, culture, a certain courtside dog?
It was just really my teammates, for real. The coaching staff, just everything. I feel like we had an amazing run last year, and to have the opportunity to do that again is what I was looking forward to the most, because I care about winning. I want to win, and that's what we do here. We win, and we just gotta win the whole thing. You feel me? Yeah.
Well, what is the difference of having already a year under your belt of Cheryl, her system, just how things are working, and how that's kind of helping you out in training camp and hitting the ground running, and the confidence that can lead to?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just comfortable, but not complacent. You feel me? So just knowing Cheryl, what she expects from me, knowing my teammates now already, just again seeing what we did last year and what we can do this year. How can you not have confidence? You know what I'm saying? We did all that in 1 year coming together. So just year two, like I said, I'm just super excited for it, looking forward to it. And I know that we definitely got like, I don't know what you say when you got someone on your back. Like we got a chip on our shoulder for sure. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Just piggybacking off of that. I mean, it's comeback season, right? You guys were in the finals. What are some of the things you improved on this offseason, even in the Unrivaled, and what you really worked on to kind of bring into the season for the team?
Yeah, it's definitely a revenge tour. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that shit hurt for real. Like, I was sick for like 3 weeks after. Like sick, like then I was sick. I was like real life depressed or something. I don't know. It was weird. So just remembering that feeling that I had, and just like that we all had, and just not wanting to feel that again. So just going into like practice every day with like that mindset of just wanting to win, and what it takes to win. But me personally, I just worked on, for me, all I got to do is have fun. When I'm having fun, I'm cool. Like, obviously working on my basketball, and that's what we all do though. Everybody working on the game. They getting in the gym, they getting up shots, they whatever. So really just staying confident and having fun. And I feel like we have a lot of fun here as a team on the court and off the court, and we got great chemistry. So just continuing to build on that and even making it better than last year.
Great, thank you, T.
So. I got you. They put it in that oven.
There's a lot of. All right, we'll get straight into questions.
Jess, it's been a while. Welcome back. Just tell us about your first impressions, diving back in, coming back right now, the timing for you, and how you're feeling so far, even just a couple days in.
First off, I'm just super excited to be back in Minnesota. And obviously, being able to watch last year about how special this team was, I'm excited to be a part of it and help in whatever way I can.
What was the process like that ended up bringing you back to coming to the Lynx?
I still had a contract with Minnesota. I went overseas, and obviously I decided to play in a shorter season so that I had the opportunity to come back this year.
What improvements do you feel like you can help them on, as far as you said you was watching them last year? Just what do you feel like you can bring to this certain team that, that's different from before?
The biggest thing I would say is rebounding. That was a piece maybe last year that they were missing at points. Fee had to carry such a heavy load in terms of rebounding. So, I want to be able to help there, and then also just facilitating in whatever way possible, helping people get easy baskets. And, obviously defense has been a huge emphasis of this team. So I want to make sure that, when I am on the court, that it's up to the level that they were playing at last year.
From your last training camp you were at to now, a lot of faces have changed. What's that like, kind of getting reacclimated with, yes, the same team, but so many different faces?
Yeah, a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. But, the new the players that weren't here the last season when I was here, their energy is just contagious. I would say that's the biggest thing is, their energy is always high and it never changes. So I think, just having those people makes it really fun. And I think, that's what made that team so special, so connected last season was, you have kind of a balance. You have Fee, who's a great leader, speaks when she needs to speak. Courtney, who leads in a different way. And then, T brings great energy. Lane is obviously, just a really good, well-rounded player. So I think, they just found the right pieces that fit together.
How were you a better player than the last than you were 2 years ago when you played with this team last?
I worked a lot on my shooting. I feel very good shooting the ball confidently. If I'm open on a short roll, I feel like, that's kind of my shot now. So that was something, this year overseas, I was able to, take a lot of and build my confidence in that. But I think, all around, I'm a better player. Obviously, the more you play, the more experience you have, you just become a better player. So I think, there's a lot of areas where you'll see little improvements, but I also think, the shooting the mid-range will be the biggest improvement.
Was it hard to watch?
It was hard, yes, but I was very busy last summer too. So, obviously sitting out last season, watching, your team play and have success was great, but it's also something, you miss and you want to be a part of.
That's it. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Hi. All right, we'll get right into questions. Who wants to start us off?
Diamond, last year was obviously kind of a tough year just with injuries and everything going on. But one thing that I really noticed was just your engagement on the bench, your attitude, bringing kind of the same consistency every day as a teammate. How important was that to you, just growing as a person last year and then coming into this year with an opportunity?
Yeah, that's exactly what last year was. Something, honestly, the things that happened to me last year, I never experienced in my whole career. And it was hard. I'm not going to look back and tell, if anybody asks me, I'm going to tell you that's year 2 was very hard for me. And I'm just happy that if I had 10% of myself, that I gave that to myself for those days. Yeah, it was very hard. Granted, the team was very successful, so that was kind of like a good distraction from what was going on with everything I had to go through. But yeah, it was very hard. And yeah, that's one thing about sports. The next year, everything changes, and it's a great opportunity to be successful and have fun and do what I love.
Diamond, it was nice to see, looking at, off-season or overseas stats, seeing that you were able to get a lot of games in and
Yeah.
stay healthy for a long season. Just how, fun was it for you to be able to stay healthy for that stretch? Because there's been so many, bad luck with injuries.
Yeah, it was very rewarding to play a whole season and be healthy and perform and do what I love. And I just think that's one thing for me, is to stay healthy, stay in the rotation, and staying healthy is something that is really important to me. Obviously, I can't control everything. I can always try to prevent and do my exercises and PT and stuff, but if an injury happens, it happens. So just trying to roll with the punches and understanding that injuries are a part of the game. And yeah, you got to keep bouncing back every time.
And I believe you were with the same club that Lan played for a few years ago in Poland. So I was curious if you had any conversations with her that sort of like helped you get ready to play in that league, or what the town was like, and just if, got any advice from her at all.
First she told me that we're in Gorzo, and she was like, it's very boring. And I was like, it is very boring there. But it was also really good that I had another vet there, Shatori Walker, and I think we just bonded over there overseas. And she also went to Maryland, so it was just great ties to see how she is successful in the lead and doing her thing at Atlanta. And yeah, me and her really bonded, and we talked, and I really think she was a great vet to have on technically my first year of overseas. And I think it was awesome to have her on the team. And yeah, she definitely helped me in understanding the business side, and also the personal side of it as well.
So often in this league, the jump from the first year to the second year is huge, because you've had a year in the league, you get an off season to work on your game, and then you play. You didn't have that. You had to spend your entire off season getting healthy rather than working on your game. So you finally kind of had that. So I would imagine you're expecting a big jump personally, just having had that opportunity.
Yeah, but granted, I do know there's a lot of heavy hitters on this team. So I do know I will be fighting for 1 minute of playing time, and that's just the situation. And it's a good problem to have when you have multiple people that are very good at their job. You know what I'm saying? So I do know I do need a fight for every second, and that's just the position I'm in. And yes, I did. I didn't have the off season I wanted my first year, but like I said, you can't predict injuries, especially one like that. I needed to recover in order to be back for this season.
Well, Coach was just in here a little bit ago talking about how she wants to design a second unit that plays differently than the first.
Yeah.
That's built around your strengths, particularly in transition. That's got to be pretty encouraging.
That's fun. Anybody who's seen me play know I am very aggressive in transition and just like to play fast, and bring a lot of aggression to the game is something that I could bring. And I know that about myself, and I did it overseas and I could do it here. So I'm just ready to get my feet wet again and have those juices going. It's just the love for the game is something that I love to do. So I'm really excited to get those opportunities when they do appear, and knowing that I'm literally fighting for my life, and I love it.
Sheila was also saying how you became just the most improved on ball defender. What are some other improvements? And that one in particular, really deciding, hey, this is something I really need to shore up in my game, and how you've approached your kind of progress.
Like I said, I'm fighting right now I'm in the grind of my career. I don't have a staple yet, you know what I'm saying? So I'm grinding, and I do know not just defense is very important to coach, and if you want to play, you have to play defense. So now it's like instilled in my brain. I'm like, I know I got to do this. And that's just something that you just have to work on. Obviously, I wasn't the best defender coming out of college, so I did know that was something I needed to work on. And yeah, just stacking days and hours to get to where I need to be, and also just playing. I think the injury kind of slowed me down a little bit, just because I wasn't able to play live basketball, but now I kind of have no excuse. So it is what it is on that one. And you just play your heart out. That's all you can do. And you don't have to be perfect. Just play hard and hope for the best.
Diamond, two-part for me. What offensively have you feel like you've really progressed on and are ready to take to the next level? And then also, second, who have been the player or players who you've kind of latched onto here that have kept you encouraged during some of the ups and downs that you faced?
Yeah, for sure. Wait, what was the first question? Oh, yeah. I just think the game is slowing down for me, and I think that's something that's very important. People are calling me a vet, but I still feel like a young player just because of all my injuries and stuff like that. Couldn't really play. I haven't really played like complete 3 seasons yet. So just letting the game slow down and seeing your reads is something that I think has definitely changed. I can feel it in my confidence and stuff. I don't feel as rushed. And I think that's something that's very important, because if you're slowed down, your mind is free. You're in that flow state. And when you're playing basketball, at least for me, I try to get to that flow state. I don't want to be thinking about this or think about that. It just wants to be like a natural flow state where you're just calm within the chaos, if that makes sense. And I love talking to Courtney. I resonate with her because I feel like we have like those underdog type of situation, but like still in our minds, we are like, we could do this. And Courtney has proven it over the years that she only got one offer coming out of college, and she was an all-star. So it just shows you that like, it doesn't matter where you come from between the lines. If you feel like you could do it, you literally can. And I think I like her story. It's pretty cool. And I kind of resonate with it. And she's a good vet. I could be like, Courtney, I need to talk. And she's like, what? So we just have great combos and stuff like that too. But I love her story because I resonate with it for sure.
Thank you, Diamond.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move into questions. Who wants to start first?
Hi, Carly. Welcome to Minnesota, and I'm delayed, but just what are your first impressions been here? I know it's only been 3 days of practice, but getting onto the floor with your new teammates, new city, just kind of how has this week gone for you?
Yeah, it's been 3 days, but I got to come in a little bit early, like a week early. So it's always nice to unpack and like just figure out how to park at practice and all that. It's been good. Practice has been really good. Energy is really high. It's like what I would expect coming into this organization and watching them last year. So I'm really loving it.
Lan was in here and talking about just something she remembered so vividly about your time playing together at Stanford was just what a high IQ player you are. How does that also kind of help you out when you are in a new situation? You're having to deal with a new system, and players who are so close together have that system and experience playing together, and really depending on that part of your game.
Well, thanks, Lan. I think it's helpful. Well, one, I have signed many hardships in my life, which is you learn on the fly, literally join a team, play the same day. I've done that before. So I think I'm accustomed. I know the league, I know the way offense is played, and it's just what the team calls different actions. And I watched Minnesota last year. I really liked the way they play, but it's also really easy when you're surrounded by, I think this is a team full of high IQ players. And I think that's one reason they're so successful. So it's been an easy integration. And I'm just excited to build on it.
Carly, what type of player are the Minnesota Lynx fans going to be expecting from you? What are you bringing to the table as far as, competitiveness, energy, shot making ability? What can fans expect from you this season?
Yeah, I think I'm just someone who loves basketball, so I like to bring that passion. Like I'm gonna yell and get excited when I hit a shot. But I think just consistency, and I think that's huge in the league, and it's huge to be a team that makes the finals and to compete for a championship. So I pride myself on that. I like to, you're not going to make every shot. You're not going to have your best day every night, but you can be solid on defense. You can be in the right spots, move the ball the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm playing with one of the, maybe if the best player in the world right now, Fee. So I think it makes my job easy. So just be consistent.
Carly, you've obviously played as a visitor in the Target Center. What is your impression of Lynx fans, and how excited are you to get in front of them on the home team side of the bench?
Yeah, I mean, the crowd's always been awesome here. I feel from the outside, it feels like Lynx fans really ride for the Lynx. So I'm excited to be on the other side of that and be part of the family.
A year ago, Lance was sitting right there and was talking about how there were times in her career where she said it's just not going to happen in the WNBA. Maybe she'd wind up back in Australia, but then the opportunity came. She made most of it. You guys have seemed to have followed similar paths, and I was wondering if you ever had those doubts about whether the succession of those 7-day contracts were ever going to really come through and mean and end up kind of where you're at now.
Yeah, I think you have doubts on, like, you start to think, okay, I've gotten better every year. I played overseas, like maybe the odds are against me, or it's hard to break in, And I think a lot of players have paths like that in the league. And I think this is even a roster full of people that have had different stories like that. I think I just got to the point where I just love to play still. And I think playing overseas kept me going, and it was really fun for me. And I let go of the whole, I'm only playing to make a roster spot in the WNBA. Like that was a goal of mine, but I can't, I've learned like you can't control outcomes, right? You can only control what you do every day. And I think just things have worked out by, following that passion and surrounding myself with a good support system that has helped me become a better player. And also just like enjoying the day. Like I think when you bring a light and you bring that kind of energy into a room, people want to have you on your team. So it's more than just the basketball. It's how you walk into a room, how good of a teammate you can be, and that translates to life too. So in my old age now, I think I'm just enjoying the process.
Well, Eric was up here earlier and he was talking about how they were playing against you when you were with LA, and he turned to somebody and said, "This is a good player, She can really do things." And they went after you, right? They signed you to your first deal, which I'm sure you'll never forget. And then you get traded here and you find out that you got the same coach here. It's got to be kind of nice knowing that face walking in the door.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm super grateful. The T-Bows gave me my first official deal in the W, which when they came out I was playing in London at the time to take me to dinner in free agency. I was like, I didn't believe they were coming until I saw them. I was like to my agent, "Are you sure this is happening?" It was my first free agency even ever. I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, I joked with Eric that, he signed me for 2 years and I end up being with him for 2 years, but I loved playing for Eric, and I was pretty disappointed when he was let go by Washington. So I mean, it was a shock, the trade. I'm sure you guys heard how I found out about that, but I'm super excited. Like I couldn't be happier being here and with Eric and Safu here also. It's really comfortable.
Move to a question on Zoom from Brett.
Hi, Brett Gardaby from Wire Wire Podcast Network. I'm very curious. Obviously, you got acquired on a trade just ahead of draft day. What are you most excited for coming over to the Lynx?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible to have the opportunity to join a team that was just in the finals. I love the way they play, and be able to play for a legend like Cheryl as well. That's exciting. I think there's, expectations and pressure that comes with that, and wanting to get back to the finals and win a championship. But to be honest, I haven't really played on a winning team in the WNBA yet in my career, so I'm just excited for this, whatever role is needed for me. But I just want to help elevate and bring what I do best at an elite level here.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
Go right into questions. Let's start.
Just how's the off season been? Obviously, I feel like every time I look at the Lynx Instagram or something like that, you've been in the gym. So just talk about all the work you've been putting in and what you've been trying to improve on.
Yeah, so like you said, I've been here pretty much the whole off season. I went to play in Athletes Unlimited in February. But other than that, I've been here working. It's been really fun. I think, some like coach was a little worried because she thought, coming in seeing the same faces every day, coming into the same place for a long time, it could get a little lonely and stuff like that. But I mean, when I was working out with Coach Brunson and Lindsay Whalen, it was super fun. Like they made it really fun for me, and I just think the work that we're doing was very intentional. So, like as I started to progress, like like it kind of motivated me more, and just really had me excited for everybody to be back and to start training camp and get into season. So the things I've been working on is just mostly my pace and just like my movements, like being able to just come out and like into quick bursts and things like that. And yeah, like my shooting, ball handling, just the stuff that you work on all the time. So.
Alyssa, what stood out about the Athletes Unlimited experience in Nashville, and how do you think that as a off-season program helped improve the areas that you were keen in on over the off-season?
Yeah, I think what stood out the most to me was just how supportive the whole just Athletes Unlimited staff and everybody was, especially with like players having like things they're passionate about and things they want to like support or like just give back to. So we had a choice of ours to pick a nonprofit organization so that we would like pretty much 100% like the same money that you got your bonus, it would go to that organization. So that was really special to me because I got to give back to a nonprofit back home in Alaska. And I think overall, basketball wise, it helped me obviously just get up and down and get playing. And there's some good talent over there. I mean, there's a bunch of girls who play in the W who got training camp deals from it, and so the competition level was pretty good. And I think also the format of having to be on a different team every week was a little interesting, but I think for me, like what I took from it was, being able to adjust and kind of stay consistent in what you're doing despite what team you're on or like who you're playing with.
How does Alaska winter compare to what you experienced? Out of curiosity.
Honestly, I think here it might be worse. Like y'all got the cake. Alaska, it snows a lot more, but here it was just like piercing cold. The wind, everything. I don't know.
That's not what I wanted to hear. But I wanted to ask too, first of all, what was that nonprofit that you wanted to give back to?
It's the Alaska Native Heritage Center. So it's actually funny because when I was in elementary school and stuff, we used to go there on field trips and stuff and learn about just Alaska Native heritage, and they had a bunch of things there that we could look at and just read into to learn more about the Alaska history. So that was the organization I chose, and it was super special to me because it was like kind of a part of my childhood growing up.
Very cool. And then the last thing I wanted to ask was about just the fans overall. Did it just continue to surprise you to see how much they would swell whenever you would come into a game, make a big play, and just those first impressions of Minnesota fans and, how that made you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I said it from the beginning when I first touched down here, because when I did, I came straight to the Target Center and I got that big welcome. And, the whole season just knows nothing short of just that moment, they kept the same energy, and it was so cool to see. And me going out there nervous when I get called to go in the game, it definitely put a smile on my face and helped me just kind of get rid of the butterflies a little bit, and just be kind of in a safe space to know that I'm supported. And the fans, they're amazing.
Last season, when you were talking to us at Media Day, you mentioned just how important the Native community here in Minnesota had been. You've kind of been a role model for, Native girls really your whole college and professional career. How important is that to you to continue doing, and what message would you like to give those people if given the chance?
It's super important. I think that's what I kind of hang my head on, off the court. Just giving back to the youth and to the Native community, I think, is just because there's nobody really that they had to do that for them. So, I mean, it's super important for me to continue to do that and to keep building my brand, and to continue to just help the youth, just inspire them and give them more opportunity, or help them. They may relate with some things that I had along my journey that they could learn from, and things like that. So, I mean, all I would say is just, I'm here as somebody they could look up to, and I'm doing my best to kind of be that person to, kind of shine a light on our background, and just put on for everybody. Thank you.
All right, we'll move straight into questions. Let's start us off.
Welcome again. How has it just been the first couple of days working out with a brand new team and a team that knows each other really well, trying to find your fit so far?
First of all, I'm so happy to be here. I feel like everybody welcomed me very well. It's really different from what I've known. The structure, the organization, but yeah, it's a lot of discovering. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying, and just happy to go to work, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
You mentioned in your introductory presser that you'll be one of the older rookies in the WNBA, and at the same time you're one of the more experienced just players overall on this team. How do you sort of balance being a veteran of basketball but also a rookie in this league, and just how you're kind of weird, or does that feel to sort of be in that position?
I feel like it's really interesting because I know I have experience, but I also know that I can learn from other people here, because it's really different, first of all, from what I know. So yeah, I feel like the first few days is going to be like discovering, observing, and absorbing everything, all the informations. But at the same time, I'm here to share. I already talked to all the rookies, and yeah, it's an exchange, and I'm very glad to be able to share my experience.
Why did you feel this was the year to take the trip across and play in this league?
I don't get it.
Why this year? Why now?
Okay. I feel like it's a mix between timing and opportunity, because last summer we had the Olympics, so it was a big stage. It was easier to be seen, if I can say that in English, I don't know. But yeah, and the timing, because for me, I play overseas, I have national team, and it's not always easy to make it all work together. And yeah, as you know, I'm 30, and it was kind of now or never. And I absolutely wanted to experience that, the W, and being able to be part of this league with the best players. So yeah.
Have you talked to Cheryl about your role yet? And also, what are some of the things that you improved on getting ready to come for the W?
I think we all always can get better. So I think I have different things where I can improve. But I know that I'm here to share my experience because I'm experienced. I've done Olympics. I'm playing with national team. I'm 30. But yeah, I'm here to put all my energy to be able to express my physicality, to be here to rebound, to be a great teammate, and yeah, that's it. That's the most important.
France has really had kind of a swelling of basketball players coming over to the US from NBA W. Just what kind of pride do you take in that, being, 30, as you say, and having an influence on French players that are growing up watching you, or other NBA players and W players now coming over here?
Yeah, that's a big pride, as you said. I think people now are aware that we're playing basketball in France, especially after the finals in the Olympics. And yeah, I think we have a lot of talents. The young players are really, really good, and I'm really looking forward for everybody to get to know them. And yeah, it will be fun to watch.
Fenerbahce has been one of the biggest clubs in Europe for a while, thanks in no small part to your teammate over there, Kayla McBride, who is also a Minnesota Lynx. I'm curious if you had any conversations with Kayla about what it means to play for this organization, and just, what she may have told you and how that kind of might help the transition a little bit.
Yeah, of course, she helped me. We talked a lot about this, and she explained to me that it would be different, about different point, like the structure, the basketball, everything in the organization. So yeah, I talked to her before I came, so it make the transition smooth easily.
Earlier, I think it was BB who was talking about how you bring something different to the post group because of your size. I know you talked about physicality and rebounding, but for people who maybe only saw you in the Olympics, or just describe your game a little bit to Lynx fans and what they can expect from you.
So yeah, as I said, my energy, like physicality, especially in defense, because this is how I build my confidence. I like being in the post up. I like shooting, so I'm gonna shoot the ball whenever I'm open. But yeah, most of all, be there in defense, and being a good teammate, because I think I'm an unselfish player. So yeah, just playing the game the right way. Thank you.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. They would get worn out with just one day. So right here. Okay, we'll get right into questions for Grace.
Hey, Grace.
Hi.
What have just the first impressions been so far, first 3 days, and how you're approaching this camp with a group that, is pretty intact coming in, but, just how you're approaching trying to make an impact?
Yeah, I mean, I've just had a lot of fun. I'd say it's been super fun being around people that have coached at and played at that highest level, have won championships, obviously something that, I hope to do in my career, but I haven't been there yet. So just seeing, their attention to detail on every single drill that they do, offensively and defensively, how they play together, how they play on a string on both sides of the ball. It's just been a lot of fun for me. So I've been trying to, just kind of watch the vets in front of me and kind of just model out what I do after what they do, just watch and learn in any way that I can.
Grace, there's obviously a long history of the point guard position with this organization, and mainly because you're a coaching staff with, Cheryl Reed being the head coach and Lindsay Whalen being an assistant coach. Just kind of what is, I know it's been, early, but what's that sort of been like getting to play for them during this training camp and in the weeks you were here before the training camp started?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've won at the highest level. They've obviously Lindsay has won championships, has played with some of the best and kind of been that leader on the floor. So just to get to pick her brain, I've watched film with her, I've gotten on the court with her. She showed me her ball handling routine. So just little things like that. Anytime you can be around greatness like that and just pick their brain, it's something that I'm, extremely excited about.
Along the same lines, Courtney and T, both in that point guard room, what's that relationship been like, and how have you been appreciating their vocalness?
Yeah, I mean, they've been great. They obviously both have great personalities, but I think just seeing that they, are such selfless teammates, they genuinely want their teammates to succeed. I think, for young players like myself, and especially like the rookies coming in, that's huge. I mean, just to have someone that's played at the highest level, had a lot of success in the WNBA, and both of those two kind of pour into you, take the time to pull you aside before, after practice, do extra drills with you. It means a lot for a younger player like myself.
In college, you were kind of the master of the mid-range kind of thing. I know that they have been encouraging you to kind of step back and lengthen your shot. Has that been a process, and is that something you've been working on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just part of the program. If you can't, hit threes in this day and age, then you're probably not very valuable. You're probably not going to get on the court very much. So I've definitely, made a point of emphasis for the past 3 years that I've been a pro, just getting up extra shots before, after practice. Really learning how to get to those spots, getting open on a three, making an easy read for my teammates to get a kick out three whenever I get that opportunity, and just being able to knock it down with confidence. So I feel like I'm at a pretty good place with that.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Right, we'll get right into questions.
Hi, Delia. Coach mentioned on draft night that both Rebecca Brunson and Lindsay Whalen were particularly excited to draft you where you were and to get you in here. And I know they were very excited to give you that phone call. What's it been like to be here these last, for few days of training camp and getting to, play for them in the gym and get that hands-on experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a lot thrown my way. It's not easy being a rookie, but they've been so helpful just every day before and after practice, asking if I'm ever needing anything, wanting to get extra work in, things like that. Like, they've just been super helpful. So grateful for that. And yeah, just excited to keep learning from them.
It seems like we hear from rookies where it just feels like it's kind of a fire hose to begin with and trying to keep your head above water. I mean, what have the first couple of days been like, and trying to balance, showcasing who you are and trying to do the right things and make a really good impression?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just trying to stay in the moment has been my biggest mindset and where I'm trying to grow, not looking too far ahead, but just trying to learn as much from like the vets and the people in front of me. Yeah, so.
Preseason's coming up. Preseason game is coming up in about a week here. How excited are you to get kind of in front of the Lynx fans and just hear that WNBA crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly just looking forward to practice tomorrow, trying to get through that. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to like know like how close the season is. I just ended a season, so I'm not used to being ready to play again. But I think the team is ready, and we're just excited to go out there and compete and to win.
And then who are the vets that are kind of helping you out? I mean, Fee's on this team, Land's here. Miriam has talked about how she wants to be a vet on this team as well. Just who's been helping you and what advice have they been giving you?
Yeah, I mean, Court and Natisha, they've been really helpful. Nafisa, all of them, like they've all been really helpful. Lan, Jessica, just I think I'm such a visual learner, and so I just need to like watch in front of me because before you can lead, you have to learn how to follow, and so that's just what I'm trying to do well. And they've all been super, just very, very kind, very helpful, but also hard on me when they need to be.
You got the slow grind hoodie on. Obviously you got the husky ties with Isaiah Thomas. Just wanted to talk about that connection, and if you've talked to him a little bit or anything like that as well.
Yeah, shout out IT. No, he's such a great person. He's obviously still trying to get back into the league himself, but he's a great person. I think just seeing him in the gym every single day is so inspiring. Like he'd be in there like 5 or 6 a.m. right before we get our time on the court. So, even at his age, like he's showing up every single day and just, making the point that it doesn't matter how old you are, how many years you've been in the league, like it's still a process. And so, yeah, he's super inspiring, and he actually like gave us this gear just from making it to the tournament. So yeah, super appreciative of him, and yeah, I wish him nothing but the best on his journey.
The nature of the schedule of going from the end of the college season straight into the draft and WNBA preseason doesn't really allow you to stop and think. But Lindsay mentioned that your passing really stood out to her when they're evaluating prospects in the draft. What parts of your game are you been really focusing on to grow and show improvement as you make this transition to the W?
Yeah, I think defensively, like I know that is a part of their identity here. And so I think really just trying to focus on the little things, being up to touch on ball screens, making sure that I'm being loud, and being just a loud voice for my teammates, knowing that I have a presence. And yeah, also just focusing on rebounding. It's a lot bigger, faster paced game than I'm used to. So I'm just trying to adjust and also trying to like take on the challenge every single day and just like embrace it.
Julia? You're good.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. Good afternoon, y'all.
We'll get right into questions.
Cam, what was, your reaction being invited back again? It's not always a common thing, but it means you left a good impression and there were things that they liked. How do you kind of carry that over into the second training camp, knowing like, hey, things went pretty good and want to continue to keep that push?
I definitely had a little dance party in my room once I found out, so I was really excited. And I was just excited to come back and see a lot of familiar faces and stuff, but also just have another opportunity to just do my best, contribute, work hard, and just learn.
What is it like, playing for a post coach like Brunson, who obviously, her numbers in the rafters, long history of great post play in this organization. It's kind of like for people who can't go through it, what is the practice with, Rebecca Brunson doing post drills like?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think being under her is like a great opportunity. There's a lot of people who would love to be in that position. So I'm very grateful. And just, knowing that you're learning from one of the best, I mean, what can you really ask for? So just learning, listening, asking a lot of questions, working on details, all that good stuff. And yeah, really just kind of just loving it, honestly.
Thinking back to last year at this time compared to now, maybe a lot of Lynx fans haven't kind of followed your journey over the last year. What have you been working on that coming into this camp you feel is giving you a better chance to stick with the main roster and get that spot?
Obviously, the difference from last year is like I'm a little bit more confident. So obviously there's still nerves, there's a lot of nerves in training camp and stuff. And I'm still technically a rookie when it comes to WNBA. So just really just asking questions and learning, continuing to build off what I know. And yeah, just keep working hard, using my energy and my personality, connecting with all the great women here and, learning from Fee, learning from Court and T and all that good stuff. So, especially coming from last year, I didn't really know a lot. And now I do, and I'm just trying to apply that.
Off that point, what do you think is sort of one of the biggest things you learned in that process last year that you can apply to having another successful training camp this year?
Another thing, there's so much. I mean, you got to focus on the small details, spacing, just little things when it comes to, being a post player, screening plays, all that stuff. So there's so much. I can't really pinpoint one thing right now, but I do know one thing is just kind of keeping up with the pace, staying connected, asking questions, and just applying basically what I know into the game.
Cameron?
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Ooh, sorry. Hi, Reagan. Welcome to Minnesota.
Hi, thank you.
Obviously, you were in such a defensive system with Kara. How has that kind of helped you with this transition? There's always going to be that transition and that jump, but just coming from a program, there was such that emphasis, and then there is one here with Minnesota as well.
Yeah, I feel like just with the scheme that they have at Duke, I feel like it's helped me a lot just to transition over here in Minnesota. Coach Cheryl, she has a lot of what she looks for in terms of her details and the little thing that she wants her defenders to do. And it's kind of similar to what it was at Duke. And I feel like I've transitioned to that pretty well. I feel like the only thing that's there is just the pace. That's what I'm having to keep up with. Yeah.
You were part of a pretty special turnaround at Duke. Kara mentioned that for the ACC tournament, when she got there, Duke was bottom of the barrel, and then you guys are cutting the nets down in Greensboro. Just how special was it for your 3 years there to kind of culminate in that fashion at the ACC tournament?
Oh no, it was super special. I think with Kara's team when she first got there, I don't think they opted out of the season that COVID year, and so being able to play going into that following year or the year after, I can't remember, but just having that whole new group just coming together, like nobody knew each other. It was a whole new team. And just seeing the growth that we've had just from my first year there to my senior year there and seeing all the things that we were able to accomplish and just seeing that the levels that it took to get there. And
it was just a great feeling overall, just to end off my college year, just be able to cut those nets down during the tournament.
And what can you say about the intensity of going from ending a season in the NCAA tournament to turning around, going through the pre-draft process, and then jumping straight into a training camp? Just what is that like? And did you get any advice from folks who had gone through it before getting started here?
Oh yeah, so after the tournament, opening, I took my rest, and maybe it was a little bit too long of a rest because I know going into the pre-draft and just going into training camp stuff, the pace was the main thing that I was needed to stay focused on, and ultimately I'm still just trying to keep up with the pace here. We're around so many athletic and physical girls here, so just being able to stay with that, I really had to continue, which I'm continuing to work on as well.
In what ways did Kara help you become a pro, but also any other messages that she left you with approaching camp? Or was it her who was telling you about get ready for that pace? Or what did she share with you coming in?
Oh, she shared with me all the knowledge that she could. Her main thing was basically just having a routine. Going into being a pro means not just doing what it takes on the court, with the time that we have available, is doing the extra work, whether it's, focusing on your sleep, focusing on your nutrition, doing the extra shooting, doing extra conditioning, whatever it takes, just to become 1% better each and every day. So that's something that she's instilled in me. And I think just the IQ that she has, and just the stuff that we ran, and the terminology that she uses during the season, I feel like that helped me transition well over to here. Thank you.
Started with questions.
For either of you, thank you for taking the time today. Just how have this first few days of training camp been going, just from intensity, and just for both of you, what sort of areas of your game are you really trying to focus on and elevate and to try and make this team?
Training camp has been going well so far. I mean, it's a lot of learning. So just adjusting through all of that, and I think it's helping us to come together and learn how each other play and those types of things.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's just been really good to learn. We got some really good vets ahead of us. I get to watch Nafisa Collier every day. I get to watch Courtney Williams, T. I get to watch like all of these different players play. So it's just been good to like watch how they operate and do those different things. And I would say the biggest thing for me was just to be able to come in and do something that I've been doing like my whole career, which is to try to rebound the ball and get them some extra possessions. So.
Asia, for you, just going straight from a college season and then immediately a WNBA training camp. I'm sure there's not really time to sit around and, think too much, but just, how intense of a transition is that, and just how has that process been going for you?
I don't think it's been that intense. Like Kiara said, we just been like learning, so it hasn't been too much of like on our bodies, but I would just say more it's like just trying to lock in mentally and just learn like new things that I didn't know at first. And it's something that I love to do, so it doesn't really feel that like hard to come in and try to, obviously make the team. So it's something that I like to do. So.
And Kiara, I think it was pretty early in the Athletes Unlimited run that, Cheryl came down and signed you to a training camp contract. Just kind of what was that experience in Nashville like, and how you think that format suited your game and allowed you to keep going?
I think just playing with other high caliber players just helps translate into getting in training camp because you're playing against similar competition. And it was a good experience to get out there and get in shape before training camp.
Hi, Asia. Sloan, we met at Ohio State a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember you.
Yep, here I am when I'm not doing that. But I wanted to ask you if there was anything you heard from Katie Smith in particular coming into this camp with her being an assistant, not just with her, entire career, but pretty good advice to get coming in.
Everything that they're telling me, I feel like I've heard, like screening angles, roll hard, talk. Even some of the drills that we're doing, like I worked out with her a lot before I came down here. I was in the gym with her every day, so she really poured a lot into me, and I talk to her every day. She comes, she check in on me and asks me how I'm doing and different things like that. So she's just been really great, and like everywhere I go, people speak very highly of her. Like everyone around here is like they love her. Same thing at Ohio. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. Oh, shit. All right, we'll get started with questions.
Thought it was Zoom.
Kristen's first one is for you. I know you were in Nashville with the Athletes Unlimited group. A number of players, got contracts during that time. Just what kind of experience was that like for you, and how do you think that format suited you, helped your game, and allowed you to keep improving?
Yeah, it was a very interesting experience. There's a different leader or captain every week, and your teams change every week. So that was pretty cool to be able to play with different people every week. But yeah, I'm real happy to see people got training camp contracts out of that league. We all been working hard, and so for coaches to come out and give people opportunities, it's been pretty cool to see.
Diamond, for you, just the intensity of wrapping up a college career and going straight into WNBA training camp, it just feels like a whirlwind. Just how has that process been like for you so far, and what did your coaches and mentors sort of what kind of advice did they give you about handling that process?
They just told me work hard and keep staying in the gym, but like you said, it was a quick turnaround from the college to the training camp. I think I probably had about 3 weeks, and probably in those 3 weeks, I probably took like two days off. So it definitely was a quick turnaround, but definitely blessed to have this opportunity to get this training camp contract. So I just been working. I ain't have no rest time for real. So.
Kristen, you played with Fee for a year. I believe she was a senior when you were a freshman. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, but what was it like to take the court with her again in that Husky tradition?
Yes, it's always a good day when you got Huskies in the building. It's been real cool to see how much Fee has grown, and for her to see how much I've grown. I was just a baby freshman coming to Stores, Connecticut, and she was our captain. And it's very similar right now, me coming in as a rookie and her being the vet. So just having that leadership from her and just being able to feel comfortable going to her, ask questions and all the things is cool.
And Diamond, what is the kind of pride you have in representing HBCUs here at a WNBA training camp and trying to bring just more of a spotlight to that group?
I mean, honestly, picking the HBCU, that was kind of one of my goals, to like shine light on HBCUs and mid-major schools as well. So I'm glad I got this opportunity because, no matter where you go, no matter where you play, talent is talent and, they're gonna see you one way or another. So I'm glad that I got the opportunity to do it. That way, if you want to go to HBCU or P4, it really don't matter, but just know that it's always opportunities no matter where you go. So that's kind of, what I was put there to do. So.
Diamond, just wonder about the process between draft day and today. I mean, how many WNBA teams talked to you and why did you ultimately decide to come here?
Draft day. Well, I did not get drafted. But and I was like, just stay ready, so you won't have to get ready. Like a lot of players that didn't get drafted or that got waived, they always say that's not the end of the world. Your time is gonna come. So I kind of just took that mindset, and then I think that Wednesday, the Lynx contacted my agents, and they ended up telling me, and I was super excited. And then I had to fly out Friday, so that was another quick turnaround. I tried to do stuff in like 2 days. So that's kind of was a process from there. And my birthday was the next day, April 15th. So, it was just a lot that week, but I'm glad to be here, honestly.
Well, happy birthday. And
thank you.
I was also wondering if did any other WNBA teams contact you about coming to training camp, or was it only the Lynx?
As far as I know, I think it was only the Lynx. My agent was talking to other teams, like the Sky, the Mystics, and stuff like that. So, but the Lynx was the one that decided to give me this opportunity, and I always appreciate that. So.
Diamond coming to the Lynx and going into training camp with such a kind of stacked point guard room of just Courtney, T, but then also you have Lindsay on the coaching staff. What's that like going into a camp where there's so much experience and, Hall of Fame resume as well?
It's always a great thing to learn from people that's been here and people that's done it. Like you said, Courtney and T, been in the league for quite some time, and me just seeing them on the court, and how hard they go, and I definitely like respect that for sure. And like Chris said, they always be there when we want to ask questions, and they just super helpful. It's not like a battle. It's like, oh, we all in this together. So definitely respect that. And Coach Lindsay, she, be asking me, do I want to get shots up? Like, she's always in my ear telling me what I can do better. She played PG, so who wouldn't want to learn from her? So it's been good. They've been super helpful and super, patient and teaching and actually teaching and stuff. So it's just a good thing overall.
For both of you, kind of what's one area that you want to make sure this coaching staff, knows about you as a player during this time, whether that be just like intensity, approach to the game, defensive mentality? What are you really focusing on right now to make sure that this coaching staff, knows about you and your game?
Well, for me, I'm a scorer, but I want them to see that I play defense too. So I play on both sides of the ball. Their tactics, they're real big on defense. So just making sure they know that I can play D will take me a long way.
Oh yeah, same. I've been a scorer throughout my whole college career. Once you get to the W, you kind of, have to sit back and learn a lot of things, before you come in all strong. And I think I just want them to see that I can do, everything besides scoring, pass, play defense, rebound, and for smaller guards, pick up 94 feet, pick up at half court. So just doing those little things that helps the team. They got, scores and everything else, but how else can I add to the team? And that's kind of what my approach has been throughout this training camp.
We have one question on Zoom from Mia.
Hi, Diamond. Congrats on signing with the Lynx. Coming in, you mentioned the quick turnaround. I know for you played a lot of basketball in college, but How, have you gotten any advice from former players or coaches to help you with this learning curve of going from college ball to professional ball?
Well, hey Mia, you said I played a lot of basketball, make it seem like I'm old, but but no, I mean, I talked to a couple of WNBA players before I even got this training camp contract, um, and they was just kind of like, "Yo, your time is coming," don't dwell on it, don't sit in it, just be ready, get the work and go to the gym. Talk to Erica Willer, she was a prime example of somebody that didn't get drafted, and she got the opportunity, and then she became the first WNBA player to become undrafted to win All-Star MVP. So, I mean, if you can take that advice that some people that's been through it and you can put it to yourself, I mean, that's the ultimate challenge right there. So I was just grateful that they, reached out and like, yo, your time coming, just stay ready. Because that builds confidence regardless of what I was feeling the days before. So.
Okay, quick follow up to that. This year for training camps, we have not one, not two, but we have three HBCU players represented on WNBA rosters. You touched on it a little bit, but for you, what is it like actually being a part of the change and seeing more HBCU players getting the opportunity to compete in the league?
I mean, that's exciting. Like I just was, telling them earlier that, they're gonna find a talent, no matter what school you at. But that's what I was, put here to do, to shine light, to be that person, to I don't want to say go against the grain, but it's not likely for me to go P4 to HBCU. So I just want to show people that you can do it anywhere. You can elevate any program if you believe in yourself, have that confidence, because that's gonna go a long way. So gonna be a lot of things that happen in life to where you just gotta get through it and you gotta still have that confidence because once your confidence is shot, it's pretty much like I don't want to see no coming back, but it's a hard time to get out that hole. So like it's good. I mean, the game is growing not on just the P4 level, but it's growing in every aspect in women's basketball. And that's kind of cool to see.